Hi boys and girls, welcome back to the 3rd and 4th grade science club. I hope you guys are doing really well, and I want you to know I miss you very much. I miss being in class and seeing my students, and so I really hope everything is going very well for you because I can't wait to see you soon. So let's start with what we always start with. In our science club, we start with our vocabulary. So go ahead and flip to the back of your notebook and write these in your glossary. I'm gonna hold them up here, but feel free to pause the program so you can write these words. All right, so let's talk about these words. Today we're learning about air, water, and land, and we're kind of focusing on how we, as good stewards of the earth, can take care of the air, water, and land. In order to take care of those things, we have to know what would be bad for those things. And the first thing we're going to talk about is pollution. And pollution is anything in the land, water, or air that is harmful. So pollution can be littering on the ground. It can be dumping chemicals onto the ground. It could be harmful chemicals that are burned and go into the air that can create air pollution. Sometimes too many cars or trucks. Cars and trucks nowadays, the government has made sure that they're very safe. Your parents have to get an inspection on their car every year to make sure that it's not letting pollution out. So cars today are getting more and more efficient, and so they have less and less pollution. And so, but sometimes you might be behind a big diesel truck and it goes, and you can see all that pollution go into the air. And also our water. And sometimes litter and trash ends up in the water, or sometimes chemicals end up in the water. Sometimes oil and gas industry, they might have a spill, and that's an accident, and the pollution ends up in the water. So these are different types of pollution on our land, water, or air. And those are things that we as good stewards of God's earth want to help prevent. And smog is fog mixed with smoke and other pollutants. And this was a very big problem earlier in the 1900s when we had coal factories. And so that the smoke would get into the air and mix with the fog, and it was very dangerous. There's also in big cities, we also see some of that as well. So these are two bad things that we as good stewards of God's earth want to help avoid. And that's one, we want to avoid pollution. We want to take care of this earth that God has given us. And we want to avoid smog, and that's a type of pollution, which is smoke mixed with fog. That's very dangerous, and we want to avoid that. Okay, boys and girls, pollution and smog. Let's go ahead and turn over to our Bible verse. This is your Bible verse, and I emailed them to your parents. And so you should have this Bible verse, and I'm going to go ahead and read it. I'm going to try to read it through the paper. Ooh, here we go. God said, "Let there be a huge space between the waters. Let it separate water from water." Let me read it. Let me make sure. I might have gotten that right. God said, "Let there be a huge space between the waters. Let it separate water from water." And that's exactly what happened. God made the huge space between the waters. He separated the water under the space from the water above the space. Okay, two different kinds of water. What in the world does that mean? Well, this is actually talking about states of matter. And so down on the ground, we have water in our lakes and our rivers and our oceans. That's the water that's below. The water that's above is actually as a gas, and that forms our clouds and our humidity in our air. And so God separated those two. There was water, and then he separated the water in the heavens and the water on the earth. And so God made these things, and remember from our verses in the last couple days, God put us in charge of these things that he made. So let's go ahead and put this in our lab notebook. You should have your Bible verse page here in your notebook, and you're gonna glue it. You have two others here. We're gonna glue it right into your notebook right there. So go ahead and pause the program so you can glue that in. Okay, boys and girls, The next thing that we're going to do is we have this sort. You should have this little page here. And what we're gonna do is we are gonna put these in our notebook. I'm gonna turn the page. We have our non-renewable and renewable. We have the experiments that we've done. And then we're gonna go ahead and put this in. And this is talking about pollution. And we have causes and effects. So let's go ahead and cut these out. And I'm gonna try not to stick my tongue out when I'm cutting. Remember we found that out? I watched that video of myself from the first time. And apparently I stick my tongue out when I cut. So let's go ahead and cut out our sort. Cut, cut, cut. Did I do it? I stuck my tongue out? I heard my cameraman laughing. Mr. Sylvie was laughing at me, so I must have stuck my tongue out while I was cutting these. Oh, the things you learn about yourself when you're quarantined. All right, here we go. So let's mix them all up and let's sort. Let's see. Now I know the words have to go at the top. Why don't you right now pause this program, and we're gonna do cause and effect. Go ahead and put those there. Pause the program, and I want you to sort all of your other pieces, and then we will go over the answers together. I want to give you a chance to come up with the causes and effects on your own, which one is which, and then we'll go over the answers together, okay? Okay, boys and girls, so let's talk about causes. So trash in the water. Okay, let's see what could be bad from trash in the water. Anytime we have trash in the water, we have to think about how that affects the different animals and creatures that are in the water. And so I think this sick fish, I think that's probably a good thing. And you can even see that that fish has pollution all around him, right? So trash in the water equals sick fish. And I've even seen some horrible things where they have sea turtles and the plastic bottle things are around their neck and awful things like that. So trash in the water is very bad, and that can cause sick fish. Okay, so let's look here. Too much car exhaust. Too much car exhaust. What could that cause? What problem could we have from that? That can cause acid rain. And that what happens is the car exhaust mixes with the rain and creates something called acid rain. And it sounds really awful, like it's gonna burn your skin off, but that's not what happens. It's just bad for the plants and the creatures that are around. And the rain that comes down isn't very healthy. Okay, so let's look at this. Here's another thing here we have. We have pollution from factories. Let's see what an effect of the pollution from factories might be. Well, I definitely think that would cause breathing problems, right? If you're breathing in the pollution from the factories, that's not going to be very good, right? So breathing problems. Am I short one? Did I miss one? Oh, dumping chemicals. Okay, if we dump chemicals, those go into the environment, and then we have creatures that live around them, and they can become very sick. So our animals become sick from dumping chemicals. Okay, litter. If you litter, you can have, and like even this litter, it looks like goo and chemicals, and those can kill our plants. So that's not good. And you might have had these mixed up a little bit, and that would still work. I think pollution from factories could cause acid rain. Too much car exhaust could cause breathing problems. Litter can cause animals to become sick. Dumping chemicals can cause plants to not be able to live. So I think some of these kind of overlap with each other. So if you put them a little different, I think that's okay. This one specifically says water, and this says sick fish. So I think these for sure go together. But I think you could go that way and that way and that way and that way. If you can make an argument for how it's bad, I will accept that, okay? So that would work if you had it a little different. So go ahead, make sure those are all glued in. Pause the program to glue in your sort. Okay, boys and girls, at this time, we have a fun activity. It's called a solar still. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take dirty water and we're gonna make it so that we can drink the dirty water. So here's the problem. How can we filter dirty water? These are our materials, glass or jar. When I say glass, like a drinking glass or jar, a bucket. And you might have like a bucket that you would use at the beach. That would be totally fine. If you have a really, really large pitcher, you know, like maybe mom makes iced tea in a big plastic pitcher or Kool-Aid in a big plastic pitcher, that would work. Plastic wrap, and that's like this saran wrap that I have here. And you see this like plastic wrap, so you need some of that. You need a rock. Here's the problem, I don't have a rock, but I have a big potato. And so I'm going to use my big potato instead. And I have my rubber band, and outside I have my water and my dirt. So we're gonna pour 2 inches of water into the bucket. We're gonna mix some dirt into the water. You could also mix some sand, because that will really help you be able to tell taste-wise if you were able to filter the water. We're gonna put a clean jar or a drinking glass into the middle of the bucket. It's really important this jar or glass is clean, because I'm actually gonna drink out of ours. So if you're gonna drink out of it, make sure that that jar or glass is very clean. 4, cover the bucket with the plastic wrap and secure with a rubber band. 5, place a rock, mine's gonna be a potato, over the opening of the jar. Let the bucket sit for many hours in a sunny place. Now I'm gonna leave it and then I'm gonna check on it later today, maybe even tomorrow morning, and then I'll post the conclusion of that. And that will be in a separate video, the conclusion of that. So let's go and answer this question, this hypothesis. And remember, it's an if-then, because we're causing something to happen. This is a cause effect. If we do something, then this will happen. If we make a solar still to filter dirty water, then, and go ahead and write what you think will happen. Okay, if you need more time, pause the program. And then I'm going to show you our lab setup, and then you'll be able to pause the program and write that down. Well, I just realized I haven't gotten my potato from I'm keeping my potatoes in my fridge. I know you're not really supposed to do that, but you know, we have a limited supply. So I'm going to get my potato out. Here's my quote unquote rock, or my potato. And I'm gonna take this outside and my plastic wrap and my rubber band and my bucket and my glass jar, and my dirty water is already out there. So I'm gonna go outside, and Mr. Sylvie is gonna follow me along. My cameraman is gonna follow me along to go outside. So here is our setup. We have our bucket here with our dirty water all mixed in. And I actually just ended up grabbing some dirt from one of my little plants, and I just threw a handful in there. And now my hand's all dirty. I'm gonna take this clean jar. I'm gonna set that in there. It's empty. It's a clean, empty jar. And then I'm gonna take my plastic wrap and I'm going to cover. It's a little windy out here. I'm going to put dirt on there. You really want your plastic wrap to be clean. I hear a kid screaming outside. I don't know if y'all can hear that in the background. Oh, my bucket's so big, I'm gonna need, there we go. gonna need at least 2 pieces. Mr. Sylvie, can I get your second set of hands here maybe to help? Here we go. I don't know. I really need 1 piece to cover the majority of it. So let's remove this one because that one's giving us a hard time. And let's go ahead and just do, this is covering the most that we can. I think that's gonna be more important than, oops, sorry. I got you, I'm sorry. Okay, can you put your hand as best as you can, like that? Okay, cameraman. And then I'm gonna take my rubber band and, okay, can you move your hand? That one, coming around. Okay, and then the cameraman, he can show what I'm doing here. Okay, I think that's pretty good. It's really tight, but we want it to be a little bit looser. We want it to sag just a little bit. Ah! Okay, I need help again because this saran wrap is not being wrapped. It likes to stick to itself. But we want it a little loose because we need to create a little bit of weight in the middle. Science is tricky sometimes, and that's okay. Okay, there we go. My potato might be too heavy. Is it gonna pull it out, my potato? Maybe I need a smaller potato. I think it's slowly moving. Okay, y'all wait here. I'm gonna grab a smaller potato. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. It's a little smaller. That, okay. All right, so what should happen, what we should see happen is, and I don't have much sun right now, it's kind of overcasted, but what should happen is the water will evaporate, and the water that evaporates is very clean. And it is going to go up to the top of this, oh, it's already happening a little bit there, the top of this saran wrap, and then the potato weighs it down. So the idea is that once it evaporates to the top, it'll drip down into the jar. So we're gonna give it a few hours and just see what happens. It does work best on a sunny day. And right now we have a breeze and cloud cover, and so it's not the perfect day for this. But I think we might have a little bit that we end up with in there, because already I'm seeing some condensation because my potato, remember I told you I put it in the fridge, and so my potato was cold, and so it's already creating some condensation from the water that is in there. Okay, all right, so let's go back inside and we'll talk about a couple more things. Here we go, traveling inside of the house. Travel, travel, travel. A traveling sun. Okay, so at this time, you can go ahead and draw a diagram of our lab setup. And if you want to rewind the program like 15 seconds so that you can see it again, so you can draw it, feel free to do that. And then pause the program and draw the diagram of our lab setup. Okay, boys and girls. And then these are the questions we have to answer. And what you can do is you can do this experiment at home and you can answer the questions on your own, okay? Because I don't have any sun, I'm a little worried that this isn't gonna work out so great. But I will, if it works out well, I will check in and give you an update in another video, okay? So these are our questions to answer. And then once you have done that, these go in your lab notebook. You glue them into your lab notebook. All right. The next thing we have is our optional homework, but you guys have time, so I think this will be good. And this one's fun. So the challenge for this one is to watch The Magic School Bus. Wet All Over is the name of the episode. And this is, you can find it on Netflix. You can probably find them on YouTube. So they're pretty easy to find out there. And there's 20 questions for you to answer as you watch the show. And then you can also pause the show while you're watching to be able to answer. And I wrote these. I'm the one who watched it and wrote these questions. And so I know that they're actual questions that you can answer from watching Magic School Bus Wet All Over. And it gives you a really good idea of the water cycle. So we will fold these in half like this. And we will glue these into our lab notebook so that we have a record of this. And whenever we get back together, you show me this, I will give you a stamp, okay? So we're gonna glue that into our lab notebook, folded in half like this. Okay, and last but not least, I read for you the giving tree. So you can find that video on my YouTube channel, and I read the giving tree, and it's about a tree, and you know, trees don't have feelings and emotions and thoughts. They're just trees, okay? But this book kind of gives feelings, emotions, and thoughts to this tree. And it's about a little boy who grows up, and it's about a very generous, giving tree. And so I thought it fit in really well with what we were learning about today. Okay, boys and girls, that's everything I have for you. And I will check in on our solar still in a few hours and see what kind of progress we have. And I will post that on my YouTube channel as well. Okay, I hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.